It's just a different part of your brain.
Yeah.
What you want to engage is the parasympathetic nervous system. We call it the green zone in my classes.
Okay.
But the social engagement is what the polyvagal theory calls it. There's different ways that you can describe it, but basically it's the place in your brain where you experience peace and safety.
Wow.
And that can be accessed. You can do it. Now, if you've lived your entire life in your 4Fs, and then your capacity to be in your green zone can be kind of shrunk down into tiny, a tiny ability, but you can. It is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible to do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So where would one start on that if they wanted to?
Yes. So I think the first thing is awareness.
Yeah.
The first thing is awareness of the acknowledgement of, wow, I have lived my life in my 4Fs. For example, like what we talked about with ministry, people who are in ministry and they're doing the work. I'm doing the work and I love God and I'm doing all these things. But they don't realize that they're doing the work of the ministry in their 4Fs.
Yeah.
They're doing it. So we talk a lot about flight energy. Flight is I'm running away from threat. I have to get away from threat. But flight is I move fast. I've got to work for my worth. It's that performance mentality. I've got to go because I want Jesus to love me and I want people to love me. And that's what I was in when I went through my crash. I was in flight energy a lot, and I was constantly like I have to work for
approval, for validation,
and once I realized it in ministry, I was like, oh, not everybody likes me. That was really bad news. I need you to know that crushed me. I was like, not everybody likes me.
Yeah.
And that destroyed me, spiraled me.
Wow.
And so the fawning, the people pleasing was not working. I was not pleasing no people. people were not pleased.
Yeah.
And I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed, and it spiraled me. And so then I realized, oh, wow, I have been doing the work of the ministry in my 4Fs, in my survival state, trying to earn God's love, trying to earn favor, trying to do all this instead of allowing his yoke to be easy and his burden to be light.
Yeah.
And I was working hard.
Yeah.
I was grinding.
Yeah.
I was trying really hard.
So I'm gonna go off here a little bit, but I want to continue that. I want to continue that because there's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
That
do that.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And there's some right now.
I was one of them.
That are there and don't know where to go from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you walk us how you got back on and came back from that?
Yeah. Okay. So it was a lot of tears.
Yeah.
Because I actually had to begin to acknowledge, why am I doing this in the first place? What is in me? What's in that dump truck? What are the past experiences that I have had that are now driving me to need these people's approval so badly? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And so I had to begin to unload that trauma from my past one by one. And the trauma was deep, far and wide, because of what I had experienced in my life. I mean, when I was 17, I had an abortion, and it was one of those where my parents coerced me to do it, but so it felt like I was a victim, it felt like I was forced to do it. But I think if I would have just had a conversation with them, they would have, I think I wanted to be the victim. I wanted it to be their fault.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want that weighing on me. But that was super traumatic at 17, sent me spiraling, which is why I went to find drugs and amphetamines. And because I was in such a deep freeze place that it brought me out of it. And so, but then the life of sin that I led, abusive relationships and, all the things, and just terrible. I was searching in witchcraft, and I mean, I was trying all the things.
Yeah.
So, and then my children that I drugged them through. So I had 2 children at the time. And I mean, one of them was actually taken by DCS for a short period. I mean, there was some stuff that I went through, and I especially my belief about myself as a mom was so attacked. But that was actually what was coming up. So I had such a deep fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is what my thought process said to me was, if I don't perform well, and if people don't love me and accept me, then that means I'm an awful person.
Oh.
People will leave me. I will be abandoned and I'll die alone, I think is what my, subconscious was telling me. It was so traumatic. And I think that fear of abandonment is one of those main emotions that we all experience and feel that we don't like to talk about. Yeah. And so I would say to someone who was in ministry now is we've got to look at, why am I here? What am I actually afraid of? To really go on that journey of saying, what are the really, really vulnerable emotions that I don't want to feel?
Yeah.
What am I actually fearing? And it's going to be hard because especially in the world of Christianity, we don't like to make bad confessions and, bad confessions. We don't like to do that. So we like to live in this world where we pretend like our emotions aren't there. And so we have to get real and we have to look at them and say, you know what? I actually really have a lot of fear.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fear. And it comes from what I've been through in my past. Because I'm telling you, what you've been through in your past, it absolutely shapes what's happening today.
Yeah.
It absolutely shapes what's happening today.
Yeah. It's so true.
And one of the other things that I would say, and you may have to edit this out because I might get this messed up. So just be prepared. There is the scripture about Paul talking about how forget the things of the past. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is that Romans?
No, it's Philippians. Yes. Forget Philippians 3. I forget the things of my past. And so people oftentimes use that of like, well, Paul said, forget the things of my past because so I don't have to deal with what's going on in my past. But if you actually look up further, a couple verses up, when you look at what is Paul saying that he's forgetting about, he's actually forgetting about the accolades that he's received. He's from, was it the tribe of Benjamin? I think he was the Pharisee of Pharisees. He was all these things. That's what he was forgetting about, are all the things that qualified him to be an apostle or whatever. And so we do have to deal with our past. It's part of it. It's bringing the Lord into these places where we've gone through these dark times, and we have to acknowledge that we have some icky feelings and take it to the Lord. Look at the Psalms. Look at how David poured his heart out to the Lord. And that's what we need to do.
So in that, it kind of brings me to a basic of things then. And how could you explain thought reframing and where one could start using, what is it and how can we use it during times like that?
Yes. So a few things I want to say about that is thought reframing is really, really good. And I do teach it a little, but it's not my main focus. So when it comes to, like Philippians 4:6 is basically you take your anxious thoughts and turn them into prayers. I believe that's what Paul was saying, So absolutely, when we're having anxious thoughts, you want to turn them into prayers of thanksgiving, turn them into gratitude. That's a great way to deal with anxiety. However, sometimes you have to go just a little bit deeper than that. And because sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to reframe a thought when you're triggered. And so I actually teach because before the thought is the emotion. So it's like the emotion comes first. Emotions are energy and motion, and they come and hit you instinctually. It is like the first thing that comes at you when you experience a trial. Something happens, I'm instantly hit with emotion. Emotion comes first, then a thought. Actually, it goes, emotion comes first, then our brain decides if we're going to go into a 4F or whether we're going to go into our safety place, our social engagement or green zone. So if I have an emotion, my brain says, which one am I going to choose? Am I going to choose safety, or am I going to choose one of my 4Fs? Then based on which thing our brain chooses, that is what decides what kind of thoughts we're going to have.
Wow.
If I choose safety, if I'm in green, I'm going to have safer thoughts. I'm going to have more productive. I can access my executive functioning, my creative problem solving. Even if it's a negative emotion, if my brain accepts it and says, okay, this trial, this is where we're in James 1, count it all joy when you go through trials of many kinds. It's saying, okay, there is a trial happening. I feel some type of way about it. It hurts. This is awful. It feels really painful, but I'm going to accept that it's happening, and I'm going to take it to you, Lord. I'm still going to keep a foot in safety. I'm going to stay anchored to safety. And then our thoughts are way more moldable if we are in green. Okay. So much easier to take your thoughts captive, all of that when you're in green. Now, if my brain decides, because of past experiences and all that it's always just going to be wired to go into the threat mode, the 4 F's, then whichever 4 F I'm in, if I'm in fight, I'm going to have fighting thoughts. I'm going to have aggressive, angry thoughts. If I'm in flight, I'm going to have anxious, spiraling thoughts. If I'm in freeze, I'm going to have hopeless and depressive thoughts. If I'm in fawn, I'm going to have clingy, needy thoughts. Okay. So, and when you look even at, what is it? 2 Corinthians 10:5, take your thoughts captive. That word captive is like, as if it were prisoner of war. And I think about it when, if you take somebody captive as a prisoner of war, you're going to interview them. You're going to go, where'd you come from? Why are you here? Who sent you? Wow. And this is what we need to do with our thoughts.
That's true.
Our thoughts, we go, if we're having a thought, an intrusive thought, a temptation thought, whatever it is, we go, who sent you? Why are you here?
Wow.
Why are you here? You're here because up higher, there is a vulnerable emotion that I don't want to feel. And it goes back to comfort, safety, identity. There is a vulnerable emotion where I am looking for comfort. I am looking for safety, and I'm looking for identity.
Wow.
Would you say that the brain, because I know I've heard this before, so I may botch this, but does the brain know the difference between what's real and what's not real?
That is such a great question. No, it does not. So, which is why rumination is horrible for you. So your brain doesn't know the difference as to whether you're thinking about something or whether it's actually happening.
Okay.
Doesn't know the difference. So you can actually, and I'll tell you in a minute how you can actually use that to your benefit. So, but when you're ruminating and you're replaying things over and over, your brain thinks it's happening again. I mean, just think about it. When you're replaying something that happened, on the,
like a car accident,
for
example,
whatever, or your heart's beating fast again. You're starting to feel the same emotion of it. So you're re-traumatizing yourself. In that moment.
Wow.
And so, but the beautiful part about that is that we can actually use that for our benefit, because when you one of the exercises that I teach people to do is visualization. And so where you begin to, and this isn't new agey, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do this, but it's seeing yourself as healed and whole. It's seeing yourself as, the way Christ sees you, or it's experiencing the Lord in your quiet time, or when you're reading your Bible and you're reading about, let's say, the woman with the issue of blood, and you can put yourself into that scripture and say, wow, what it would be like to fight against the crowd and to have the courage to go to touch and you put yourself in it in your mind. And you actually touch the hem of his garment and imagine the power that came out of him and what that felt like. There are different ways that you can do that. And so as you experience the Lord in that way, in your brain is like, well, that really happened,
Wow, that's awesome.
So anyway.
That's good.
No, like, getting a little deeper in. Hey guys, thank you for tuning back into this week's episode. Make sure you don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you guys would ever want me to speak on a specific topic, you can write us at dailychop@gmail.com, or on Facebook at Alex Martinez Daily Chop, or on Instagram at Going Hard. Thank you guys. God bless.